Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and in this video I'm going to tell you pretty much everything I know about lithium batteries used in an RV for your house batteries. So I'm going to go over with you this list I made with the negative things about the lithium batteries first, and then I'll go over the positive things about lithium batteries, and then I'm going to tell you about a few things about my particular brand of batteries that has some special features. Now, first let me say that I am not a battery expert. I just know what I know from research and owning two different types of batteries over the last almost 3 years in my motorhome. It came from the factory with flooded lead acid batteries, and they lasted about 1.5 years before they really went bad, and I replaced them with lithium batteries, which I have now had in for about 15 months. So if you think I say anything wrong in this video, please let me know in the comments below. But keep in mind that I'm not a battery expert, just what I know from my research and experience. So the first on the list is the upfront cost. And that's everyone's first question: how much do they cost? And yes, they are expensive. Now, I think AGM lead acid batteries cost about twice as much as flooded lead acid batteries. And I would say that lithium batteries cost about 7 times as much as flooded lead acid batteries, $150 compared to about $1,000 for a 100 amp hour battery. So yes, there's that big upfront cost with lithium. However, if you look at it long term over the life of the battery, I think you will find, or at least I've heard many people say, that lithium batteries can actually cost less than lead acid batteries if you amortize the cost over the entire life, which, if you take care of them, can be as much as about 17 years. The ones that I have, the manufacturer says on their website that they can last up to 17 years, especially if you do not regularly discharge them below 50%. Now, another negative to lithium batteries is that if you get them, probably one of the first things you're going to find is that your alternator will not charge them. The batteries charge just fine from shore power, or from your generator, or from your solar. However, they will not charge from your alternator unless you upgrade your battery isolation manager to one that's compatible with lithium batteries, because these, what they call BIMs, BIM, battery isolation manager, that all the factories put in, are not compatible with lithium batteries. What the BIM does is decide whether to send the alternator charging to the coach batteries or the chassis batteries. It can only charge one at a time, and it does that based on voltage. And since, as I'll tell you later, lithium batteries always have a high voltage, the BIM thinks that they never need charging, even if they're at a very low charge level. However, there is a BIM that is lithium compatible, and I think there's only one company that makes this. And after being without alternator charging to my house batteries for this whole 15 months, I finally decided I got to get one, because they come in handy quite often. Like early morning, when your batteries are low, you want to charge them while you're driving. This is what it looks like. Now, there are some other methods of trying to accomplish alternator charging, and I tried some of those before getting this. And in my experience, the hardest part about trying to get alternator charging is finding someone who knows how to do the modifications to make it work. And I'll put a link below to the company that has these lithium compatible BIMs so that you can take a look at that too. Now, another big negative to lithium batteries, not to me, but for some people, is that one thing about lithium batteries is that the batteries will not charge if the battery internal temperature is below freezing 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that's not the outside air temperature, that's the temperature inside the battery. So the outside air temperature would have to be probably, I've heard 24 degrees before the inside of the battery is going to actually get below freezing. But what some people have done, if they're going to be in a part of the country where it often freezes, is they install the batteries indoors rather than on an outdoor storage compartment. That way you never have to worry about your batteries freezing. I just don't go to places where it freezes like that very often. So it hasn't been a problem for me, but if you're a person who is kind of stuck up in the north or high elevations where it freezes a lot, that would be your option, to still be able to get lithium batteries and charge them when it's below freezing by installing them inside the coach. But now lithium battery technology is improving, and I've heard that they are coming up with lithium batteries that can be charged down to around 0 degrees. Another negative is that the readout you get for the state of charge percentage, it needs to be recalibrated once every several times of cycling the charging. And to recalibrate it, you just need to get your batteries 100% charged, plus get the charge rate up to at least 14.4 volts. And for most people that won't be a problem, but you need to have a battery charger that will be able to get that voltage up to 14.4 and hold it for at least 15 minutes. Another negative is that if the batteries get totally dead, they cannot be revived without basically doing surgery to the batteries, because the batteries have a little computer inside the battery that sets it to charge mode, and if that computer is getting no electricity at all, then the batteries are not going to be able to charge. So you would have to have the battery manufacturer basically go in and get that little computer rebooted. So that would be an extra expense if you do that. However, later on I'm going to tell you why that's probably not going to be a problem. At least I know with my batteries. Now, I don't know much about other brands of batteries than the particular brand that I have, although I do know that some other brands of lithium batteries do not have all the features that mine does. As far as I know, the brand that I have, which is Life Blue, is about the best lithium battery you can get. It has the most features and battery size options. Now into the positives about lithium batteries. In my opinion, the number one best thing about lithium batteries is that it holds the voltage at least 13 volts throughout the whole cycle of a battery. The voltage does not drop below 13 until the battery state of charge gets down to less than 10%. With any lead acid battery, once the voltage state of charge gets down below 50%, then the voltage rapidly starts dropping. And when you're trying to power things with low voltage, you're going to have appliances not working at their full efficiency. It can harm some things, and it's just really bad for your whole electrical system to try and power things when it's at a low voltage. And that allows you to use your batteries fully, all of the amp hours. You take a 100 amp hour lead acid battery, you really should not use it below 50%. And what that means is you really have a 50 amp hour lead acid battery. It cuts your usage in half. Whereas with lithium batteries, you could essentially use them until it gets down to like 1%. So like I have 600 amp hour batteries. I've got 600 amp hours usable. If I had 600 amp hours of lead acid batteries, I would really only have 300 amp hours, which means they have to be charged a lot more frequently, and you can't go near as long, like if you're boondocking, off your batteries, when basically you can only use the top half of your batteries. Another positive is that you don't need to fully recharge your batteries. And one thing about lead acid batteries is to get them to really work efficiently, when you recharge them, you need to recharge them all the way to 100%. With lithium batteries, they don't care. And a lot of times in the winter, when I'm not getting good solar, my lithium battery state of charge in a 24-hour period will vary from 25% to 75%. In the winter, it's hard to get them to charge over 75, 80%, at least is what I found. So they can fluctuate between that 25, 75 without any problem. Lead acid batteries are not going to like that. Another positive is that lithium batteries weigh about 1/3 to 1/2 as much as lead acid batteries. Less than half of the weight. So not only does that make them easier to move, but it greatly reduces the weight on your coach and your coach tires. Also, lithium batteries charge much faster than lead acid batteries. And the main reason is because with lead acid batteries, you can only do a bulk charging up to, I think, about 80%. And then when it hits about 80% state of charge, then your lead acid batteries have to go into absorb mode, where the charge rate is greatly reduced. You can't charge lead acid batteries at a high rate all the way up to 100%. But with lithium batteries, they don't really have that 3 stages of charge modes. So you can bulk charge a lithium battery all the way up to, I would say, 98% before it really goes down into absorb and then the float mode. And I found that my lithium batteries will charge at the rate of about 1% every 5 minutes. So the batteries will go up 12% state of charge over an hour. And that's if you're charging a full 600 amp hour battery bank all at once. You charge just one battery and that can fully charge in just a little over an hour. So that's a fast charge rate, and you don't have to slow down the charge rate for the last 20% of the battery capacity. Another positive is that your lithium batteries will give a much more accurate state of charge percentage than you will get from lead acid batteries with a battery monitor kit. These batteries, mine, have a built-in battery monitor that tells you the state of charge. But lead acid batteries are not meant to be monitored by state of charge. They're meant to be monitored by voltage. But a battery monitor kit installed with lead acid batteries will give you a state of charge percentage, but in my experience, it gives very inaccurate readings. It always tells you the state of charge is much, much higher than it really is. Another positive is that lithium batteries do not have to be mounted standing up. With flooded lead acid batteries particularly, they have to be standing straight up, otherwise the water in them will leak out. But with lithium batteries, you can lay them on any one of the sides, and this is especially important if you're going to install them indoors. To get them to fit where you need, you may have to lay them on their sides, and that's just fine. And lithium batteries can last 5 to 7 times as long as flooded lead acid batteries, so you're not replacing them over and over every few years. Another positive is that lithium batteries do not use any type of liquid, so you never have to add water Like AGMs, you never have to add water, but they also don't even have any water in them like AGM batteries do. So there is absolutely zero maintenance the entire life of the batteries. And lithium batteries do not release any toxic acid gas like flooded lead acid batteries do. So the big benefit of that, I think, is that it's safe to have the lithium batteries inside your coach. In fact, I keep an auxiliary lithium battery right beside my bed to power certain things in my bedroom, just to give me a little extra battery capacity. So they're very safe to keep them really close to you, whereas flooded lead acid batteries, you don't want to be near them on a regular basis. Another positive is that lead acid batteries can only store about 90% of the charging electricity that goes into them. So out of 100% of the charge that goes into the batteries, you're going to lose 10% before you get them fully charged. Lithium batteries, that's like 99%. Essentially all of the charge electricity that goes into the battery stays in the battery, and you don't lose more than about maybe 1% compared to a 10% loss with lead acid batteries. Lithium batteries also have a much longer shelf life, meaning if you don't want to use them for, say, 6 months, then when you come back to them 6 months later, they're going to be in the same state as when they were before. And you can actually put them in storage for years and they'll be fine. You're not going to lose power out of them, which is called a self-discharge rate, meaning they lose their charge without any use of the batteries, just by sitting there. But with lithium batteries, they have many times more of a shelf life. And kind of related to the previous thing is that lithium batteries do not need any ventilation. You need your lead acid batteries to be outside your coach and in a compartment where they're going to get ventilation. Lithium batteries do not need any ventilation whatsoever. And there's no corrosion on the terminals for lithium batteries. It's just not possible for the terminals to corrode like you've often seen lead acid batteries corrode. Now I'm going to show you my batteries and then go over some of these special features that my brand of batteries has. And I am certainly not sponsored by this brand of batteries. I just simply don't know much about other brands of batteries, other than I know that mine, I think, are the best brand you can get, and they have a lot of special features and protections, which I'm going to show you now. So this is the label on the batteries, and they come in 75 amp hour, 100 amp hour, 150 amp hour, 200 amp hour, and 300 amp hour. I decided to get two 300 amp hour batteries as opposed to getting 6 100 amp hour batteries. The 100 amp hour batteries cost about $1,000. These 300 amp hour batteries cost about $2,500 each. So by getting 2 300s instead of 6 100s, I not only saved $1,000, but the wiring is much less complicated because you're only wiring together 2 batteries rather than wiring together 6 batteries. I also have this 75 amp hour battery that I keep in my bedroom, and I got this as a way to extend my overall coach battery capacity, and I use that to power 12 volt equipment in my bedroom. I got an alarm clock. This is my camera battery charger, CPAP machine, and a fan, and another fan over here. So the overall main special feature that LifeBlue batteries have is that they have built-in self-protection, so that anything that can hurt them will not hurt them. For example, it has an over-under voltage protection, so if you're trying to charge them with a charger that is giving a low voltage charge or an excessively high voltage charge, it will turn off the charging and give you a notification that you're getting bad voltage from your charger, because either one of those things can harm the batteries. And it has overcharge protection. Once the batteries are 100% charged, it will turn off the charger, so you never have to worry about overcharging your batteries. And if the batteries ever sense a short circuit, it just shuts them down, and it gives you a notification that there was a short circuit, or if anything goes wrong, there's a notification that tells you what went wrong. And my batteries have a built-in battery monitor system that sends a Bluetooth signal to an app on your cell phone that gives you readout detail about them. So let me show you that now. And this is the Bluetooth signal that comes from the batteries. That first one ends in number 12. That's my internal 75 amp hour battery, and the 270 and the 234 are my 300 amp hour batteries. So if I just press on this, then that is going to give me a readout of the battery state of charge. It's at 66%, 13.1 volts. Standby means the battery is not charging, it's not discharging, it's just standing by, and it tells you the health. And then you go to the next screen, and again it shows you the voltage, and that is the net amps. So as I turn on this fan, now it shows I'm using 2.1 amps. And as you're charging the battery, that will go up to show you the rate that you're charging the batteries at. And if you're using the batteries while you're charging them, then it nets out the two to give you the net amps. Minus means it's using, plus means you got a net amp increase. And this tells you the temperature of the interior of the battery. This is how many cycles it's been through. Then you go to the next screen, and this tells you if there's been any kind of a fault happening there, which I have seen before. And then this is information about the LifeBlue company. So with this, you don't need any separate battery monitoring system like you do with lead acid batteries. So next time you think it's about time to replace your batteries, they're going bad, then consider not only flooded lead acid batteries, but AGM lead acid batteries, which have some benefits over flooded, and lithium batteries. And let me tell you, the main reason I went with lithium batteries is because I struggled like everything with my flooded lead acid batteries that came with the coach from the factory, and it was just a nightmare in many cases trying to keep that charge level up. It was a battle, and having the batteries run out so quickly. So I just went for it, and I know that higher cost up front is going to pay for itself. But you might not want to do that for a coach that you're not going to own very long unless whoever you're going to sell the coach to might really be excited about getting lithium batteries, because you kind of are making an investment over at least like 14-15 years. So I hope this video has helped you when it comes time to buy new batteries for your coach. Good day, folks.